The British Museum. Sub-Basement 3. Department of Anomalous Antiquities. My name is Dr. Nathaniel Ashcroft, Senior Archivist, Custodian of Restricted Collections. What you are about to hear has been recovered from sealed files, letters, journals, and testimonies once thought too disturbing for public record. Every statement you hear is drawn from Britain's forgotten centuries, the whispered history that hides between faith and fear. These are the National Occult Archives, filed, preserved, never closed. The following document was never intended for public release. Case file NOA1589H. Classification: Record of a Church Warden. Date of statement: 24th June 1589. Location: Whitby, Yorkshire. Author: Henry Marsh, Church Warden. Record of the Bell Tower Incident. Henry Marsh, Warden of St. Mary's Church. Do record what occurred in our bell tower this past spring. The bells have rung themselves for 3 months now. Always at the same hour. Always the same pattern. 3 bells in sequence, repeated 7 times. It begins at 3 minutes past midnight. No human hand pulls the ropes. I have watched them move on their own. The sexton, Thomas Gray, first reported the phenomenon in March. He was locking the church for the night when he heard the bells. He climbed the tower and found the ropes swaying. The bells rang above him, though no one else was present. He fled and refused to enter the tower again. I thought he had imagined it, or that wind was the cause. But I heard them myself the following week. 3 clear notes, repeated 7 times, then silence. I gathered 3 other men and we climbed the tower together. We arrived before midnight and waited. The air grew cold as the hour approached. At 3 minutes past 12, the ropes began to move. They pulled downward as if invisible hands gripped them. The bells rang out across the town. 3 bells, 7 repetitions, just as Thomas had described. We tried to stop the ropes from moving. They pulled against our grip with terrible strength. The largest man among us was lifted from his feet. He released the rope and fell hard upon the floor. We could only stand and watch until the ringing ceased. I have since discovered the history of these bells. They were cast in 1491. A bell ringer named Matthew Cole served this church for 30 years. He died in the tower on the 24th of March. The record states he fell from the platform while ringing the bells for morning service. But there is another document I found in the old vestry, a letter from the vicar at that time. It describes how Matthew Cole was discovered. He had been ringing the bells for hours before dawn. The vicar found him exhausted and confused. Matthew claimed he could not stop. Something compelled him to continue pulling the ropes. The vicar helped him down from the tower. Matthew returned the next morning and was found at the bottom of the stairs. His neck was broken. The bells were ringing above him. Now they ring again with no living person in the tower. Always at 3 minutes past midnight. Always 3 bells, 7 times. I have tried blessing the tower. I have tried sealing the door. Nothing stops the ringing. The rope for the largest bell shows wear, as if pulled nightly. I examined it closely and found the fibre frayed in a pattern matching human hands. Matthew Cole rings the bell still. He cannot stop his task. He continues the pattern he began that morning long ago. 3 bells, 7 repetitions, the same sequence he rang as he fell. The townspeople have grown used to the sound. They no longer wake when the bells ring at midnight. But I cannot sleep knowing what moves those ropes. Henry Marsh, Church Warden, St. Mary's Church, Whitby, Yorkshire, 24th June, 1589. Archivist's note: Dr. Nathaniel Ashcroft, Bell Tower, records confirm Matthew Cole's death in 1491. The bells were removed in 1592 and recast. No further supernatural incidents were reported after their replacement. End of file. Proceeding to next recovered document. The following document was never intended for public release. Case file NOA1623D. Classification: Confession of a Friar. Date of statement: 9th October, 1623. Location: Canterbury, Kent. Author: Brother Augustine, Franciscan Friar. Confession. Regarding the manuscript, I, Brother Augustine of the Franciscan Order, do confess my actions concerning the forbidden manuscript. I found it in the library while cataloguing donations from a deceased scholar's estate. The book had no title on its cover. The pages were bound in dark leather. I opened it despite warnings from Brother Timothy. He said the previous owner had gone mad. I believed myself strong enough to resist whatever had affected him. The text was written in Latin, mixed with words I did not recognize. It described rituals performed in ancient times, methods of calling to things that exist beyond our world. The handwriting changed throughout the manuscript. Some pages were careful and precise. Others showed trembling, frantic script. The final pages were nearly illegible. I read for 3 hours that first evening. The words seemed to echo in my mind long after I closed the book. I dreamed of vast spaces where no light could reach. I woke feeling watched though my cell was empty. I returned to the manuscript the next day. Brother Timothy found me still reading after midnight. He begged me to stop. I refused and locked myself in the library. The text explained how certain words could open doorways, how speaking them in the correct sequence would allow passage. I did not believe such things were possible, but I felt compelled to test the instructions. I spoke the words aloud in the empty library. The air changed immediately. It became thick and pressing against my skin. The candles dimmed, though I had just lit fresh ones. I heard something breathing in the darkness beyond my candlelight. Heavy, slow breaths like a large animal sleeping. I called out but received no answer. Only the breathing continued. I tried to move toward the door. My legs would not obey. I stood frozen while the breathing grew closer. The darkness seemed to move as if it were alive. I saw no shape within it, but felt a presence of enormous size. It had heard me speak the words. It had come through the doorway I opened. I began reciting prayers in desperation. The Lord's Prayer, the Ave Maria, every holy word I knew. The breathing paused. The darkness retreated slowly. The air returned to normal. I could move again and fled the library. I burned the manuscript in the courtyard that same night. Brother Timothy helped me scatter the ashes, but I still hear the breathing sometimes, in quiet moments between prayers, in the silence before dawn. It followed me through the doorway, something vast and patient. It waits in the spaces where light does not reach. I feel it watching me even now. The words remain in my memory, though I destroyed their source. I could speak them again if I wished. Part of me wants to. That is the most frightening truth, I must confess. The manuscript showed me something beyond our world, and I long to see it again, despite my terror. Brother Augustine, Franciscan Friar, Canterbury. Kent, 9th October 1623. Archivist's note: Dr. Nathaniel Ashcroft, Brother Augustine, disappeared from Canterbury Monastery in November 1623. His cell was found empty, with all candles extinguished. The door was locked from inside. End of file. Proceeding to next recovered document. The following document was never intended for public release. Case file NOA 1705RW. Classification: Testament of a Midwife. Date of statement: 14th February 1705. Location: Cornwall coast. Author: Widow Eleanor Pascoe, midwife. Testament of the stillborn child I, Eleanor Pascoe, midwife to the coastal villages, do give testament about the child born on Candlemas night. I have delivered 300 infants in my 40 years of service. I have seen many sorrows, but nothing prepared me for what occurred at the Trevanion house. Lady Catherine Trevanion laboured for 18 hours. The birth was difficult, but not unusual. I had attended her first child 3 years before without incident. This second child was different from the moment it emerged. The infant did not cry. Its skin was grey and cold. No breath moved in its tiny chest. I have delivered stillborn children before. It is a tragedy, but not uncommon. I wrapped the child and prepared to inform Lady Catherine. Then the infant opened its eyes. They were completely black with no white visible. The child looked directly at me. Its mouth opened but no sound came forth. I dropped the bundle in shock. Lady Catherine's sister caught it before it fell. She saw nothing unusual and thought I was merely tired. She took the child to show Lady Catherine. I tried to warn her, but found I could not speak. My voice had left me entirely. Lady Catherine held her dead child and wept. The infant's eyes remained open. Those black eyes followed a movement around the room. I saw this clearly, though no one else remarked upon it. The family priest arrived to perform the baptism. Even stillborn children receive this blessing in our tradition. He began the prayers over the infant. The child's mouth opened wider. A sound emerged that was not human, low and resonant like a bell tolling underwater. The priest stepped backward. He completed the blessing hastily and left the room. I remained with Lady Catherine through the night. She would not release the child. She spoke to it as if it were alive. The infant's eyes continued to move and watch. At dawn, Lord Trevanion took the child from his wife's arms. He carried it to the family crypt for burial. I followed to ensure proper care was taken. As they placed the infant in its small coffin, I saw its fingers move. Just a twitch, but unmistakable. The Lord saw it too. His face went white and he sealed the coffin immediately. We buried it that same morning. No ceremony, no witnesses beyond the family. That was 3 weeks ago. Lady Catherine has not spoken since the burial. She sits in the nursery staring at the empty cradle. At night, I hear her singing lullabies. Lord Trevanion asked me to attend her. I visit daily and bring tonics for her nerves. But I hear things in that house now. Sounds from below ground. Scratching against wood. A bell-like tone echoing through the halls. The servants whisper about crying from the crypt. An infant's wail that comes at midnight. I have advised the family to leave this place. They will not abandon their home. Last night, I dreamed of those black eyes, watching me from the darkness, waiting beneath the earth. Eleanor Pascoe, midwife, Cornwall coast, 14th February 1705. Archivist's note: Dr. Nathaniel Ashcroft. The Trevanion family abandoned their estate in March 1705. The crypt was sealed by church authorities. Property records show the house remained vacant for 80 years. End of file. Case closed to public record. The original document remains sealed within the vaults of the British Museum. The NOA archive remains committed to documenting phenomena that defy conventional understanding. These cases are submitted for academic review and further investigation. Further access requires written authorization or curiosity strong enough to ignore the warnings. Until next time. These are the National Occult Archives.